You know, Ed, I sit there for the planning commission and I never have a problem with that chair.
I think we're
Yeah, but you don't go through cycles like that.
This one squeaks, Ed.
Good. Some days I'm tall and some days I'm short.
Oh, well, I've always been short.
Hey, I know Brian like that too. Some days you feel like shit too.
He let the taxes go, the state takes over.
How long did that go?
Run count.
4 years?
3 years, I think.
That's
If I didn't have a 2-year-old granddaughter, I probably wouldn't know about Goldilocks anymore.
Or won't have remembered anyway.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard to do that.
Hey, Grandpa. Get Frosty on the iPad or get Goldilocks on the iPad. It's just right.
What's your post? That's what all those kids.
I know that. Oh, I think what?
So there's stuff.
Little Red Riding Hood,
Should we get
a
a
little
little
bit,
for the back?
I want her to see that because that big bad wolf is there.
What time for one meeting?
Ready?
I am.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I would ask you to stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sometimes I gotta find somebody to put the rope in on. Hopefully get.
Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Kalanuski.
Here.
Bruce.
Here.
Paul. Here. Walker.
Here.
Scarra. Here. Williams.
Yeah.
Here.
And Hutchinski.
Under approval of the meeting agenda for tonight, meeting agenda under communications, we have a letter from the Michigan Township Participating Plan concerning the 2011 to 2012 dividend of $255.04. Item B is a communication from it's the Manistee County Recreation Plan flyer from May of this year. And item C is a memo from Mindy Dahlke, Manistee County Chief Deputy Treasurer, regarding Filer Township 2015 foreclosed parcels. Item D is a letter dated 5/22 of 2015 from Charter Communications regarding programming changes. Department and committee reports. Item A is the Water Department report, which includes the monthly report from Wade Trim. Item B is the Fire Department report. Item C, Office of Zoning Administrator. D is Planning Commission report with the appointment of one board member to the US 31 Corridor Committee. Item E is the Building and Grounds Committee, and under that we have to consider approval of recommendation from the Building and Grounds Committee to hire Owens Construction to replace the rec center front door, which is proposal number 1014, at a cost of $2,140, but we need to amend that and add another $250 for panic hardware on that door, so that bid would be a total of $2,390. Item F is PEG Commission report. Item G is the sewer report. And then under unfinished business, we have item A, consideration of approval of the presented Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines. Item B is consideration of approval of the presented summary of Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines. And then item C is consideration of approval of a resolution adopting the Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines and the summary thereof. And then I would like to add item D under unfinished business, which would be our contract with Great Lakes Assessing, which should have been under your nameplates. Under new business, we have item A, review of Manistee Community Pool Agreement Activity Report. Item B is consideration of policy renewal options from Provident Accident and Health for Fire Department members, presented by Burnham and Flower Insurance Group. And under this, I would like to add 2 more items. Item C is the approval to obtain real estate for public purposes. And item D is a street light installation issue at the corner of Link and Fox Farm roads. Any other items to add to the meeting agenda?
Move that we approve the meeting agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Hachinsky, seconded by Skiera to approve the meeting agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is consideration of approval of the consent agenda. On the consent agenda for tonight, item A are the minutes of the regular board meeting from May 7th, 2015. Item B is a financial report. Item C is approval of the township general fund expenditures, including the fire department. Checks numbered 32400 through 32494. Accounts payable totaling $31,274.31. Payroll totaling $16,745.67 for a grand total of $48,019.98. Item D is approval of water department expenditure checks number 2124 through 2132, totaling $12,744.19.
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Cruz, second by Kolonowski to approve the consent agenda for tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Let's see. The township participating plan that's in your packet under communication, item A. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the one that I thought we were on. You see in there that we received a check for what, $255.04 as a result of dividends in that year. So unless there's any other comments on that, anything on the communication from the Manistee recreation flyer? You see there's...
This is the recreation plan for the county, is what all the municipalities have gathered together and are doing, and now they're having these vision sessions. You can see that there's a list of them on the left-hand side there, so you can see your way clear to attend any one of them. That would be nice. It'll give you an idea of where they're at with that. It's all part of the schedule to complete the project.
There's 5 more after tonight's at Marilla that we can participate in, and also an opportunity for anyone to participate online in their survey. So
It doesn't take very long to do.
take a look at that. And also you've had a chance to look at the communication from Mindy Dalkey that we'll be discussing later under new business. And item D, the changes from charter are spelled out in that communication. And that takes us to public comment. Any public comment for tonight? Jill.
I see there's two public comments. I wasn't sure which public comment was the right public comment, but
Please check.
Either one of them work.
still have to. Anyway, I'm Jill Novak. I think I know everyone here that I've met. I had made a commitment when I was elected as clerk to go to all the municipalities every so often and visit, and so that's my reason for my visit tonight. I've tried to come on election days, and we have clerk meetings and township board meetings, so it's a good reason to be in the local communities to see what's going on, and it's kind of refreshing to see how people are so committed to their townships. So I commend all of you for being involved. Just a couple things. As you know, I don't have anything really pressing. I'm just here just to kind of say hello. My office is, as you know, we do all vital records for the county, the births, deaths, marriages. Just as a little backup, we also do all the elections. I'm the election coordinator for the county. I'm also the clerk of the Board of Commissioners and the court clerk for the circuit court, so all of the felony and civil filings over $25,000 are done in my office. So it's a busy place. We do a lot of different things. I'm also the clerk of the Board of Canvassers, the apportionment board, the plat board, the jury board, the election commission, the concealed pistol licensing board. So there's a few, I think I missed a couple there, but so it's a busy place. Just a couple new things that's going on in our offices. We are still digitizing and scanning all of our court records, all of our vital records. That's all done digital now. A couple new laws that are going into effect. I don't know if you've heard of the concealed pistol licensing law that's changing. As of December 1st, the Concealed Pistol Licensing Board, that's made up of the prosecutor, a Michigan State Police officer, and the representative from the Sheriff's Department, is no longer, and all the administrative and responsibilities are given to the county clerk. So those will be issued. They're issued in our office now, but at the recommendation of the gun board. So that gun board will no longer be, we'll still do criminal history checks through the Michigan State Police, but the licensing, the denials, the revocations, the suspension letters, all will come from my office. And just a couple changes in the law. If your gun permit was going to expire, before you could it could expire and you could renew it whenever, maybe 2 years after the expiration. And the new law says you have to expire within a year after expiration, or you have to start all over again, go to class, reapply as a new permit. So another part of the new law is we have to send a letter to every applicant or every licensee that's their permit is expiring. So that's something new that we didn't have to do before. So it's a little bit more work, more responsibility, and my staff and myself will be doing training this summer, so we'll be ready to go in December. I don't know if Shirley has talked to you about election equipment. That's kind of coming down the pipe here probably in 2016. I'm hoping, and under my recommendation to the local clerks, I would like to see us not really do anything until 2017, because as you know, 2016 is a busy presidential election year. I just don't think it's a smart move to take on a big change like that in a big election year. So I'm recommending to the clerks that we wait until 2017. I just think it's a smarter move. As far as funding for that, the state believes that it's going to be about $60 million to implement new voting equipment in the state of Michigan. We understand there's $26 million that's left over from the HAVA Act, the Help America Vote Act from a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago actually, and they're asking for appropriation of $10 million each year for the next 3 years. So we're hoping that's going to come through to fund this equipment. There is talk also of maybe, if they can't get the funding for the next 3 years, to lease this equipment down the road, and they might be asking local municipalities to help fund those leases. Myself, and I know local clerks, and the Michigan Association of County Clerks is going by the adage that if you want new equipment, then the state should be paying for it. We shouldn't be putting it on the local municipalities. So that's kind of the gist that we're coming from, and hopefully we'll be successful in that bid. What else is new? The August election, we are going to have an August election coming up. We just got done with the May election, even though it went down with flying colors. But it's still a lot of work to put on an election. So the August election, we have a West Shore Community College renewal proposition. We have a township in Onekama that jumped on board with a prop, and Mason County Eastern Schools that bleeds into Manistee County, and Grant Township is in the K&D schools. So that is part of, Mason County Eastern Schools is part of Free Soil Township, and that's part of Free Soil Township is not in our county, but the voters bleed into that school district that are in Stronach Township. So that's on the ballot in Stronach Township as well. And I just want to give a thank you to Shirley. She's a gem of a clerk to have, and her deputies and precinct inspectors. So you're very fortunate to have a clerk of Shirley's caliber. So thank you, Shirley. Other than that, that's about all that I had that's going on in my office. If anybody has any questions or comments or...
Jill, my
Yes.
math was correct. You're talking about the voting machines,
Yes.
26 million
Yes.
left over,
Yes,
and then 10 million per year for 3 years,
right.
and the total cost was 70 million?
60 million, so that's about, right, so that's still about, 4,000 or 4 million short,
Okay.
but that's kind of the gist where they're coming from. And that's an approximate, the 60 million. So it's a big chunk of change.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I heard you wrong. I thought you said 70 million, so I was going to say we're
60
a little
million.
bit short there.
Yeah. Well, it's still a little short of 4 million,
Yeah.
but I think give or take it'll come. But we're just hoping that the funding is appropriated for those next 3 years. So, well, thank you very much for letting me speak. And if you ever need anything, give me a call. I'm always welcome to help you out. Okay.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Did you say you needed a part-time job?
No, I just got that quarter. I'm good, thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, under Department and Committee reports, item A, you have in your packet the Wade Trim monthly report, and you can see in that our water usage is been pretty consistent the last few months.
It doesn't need all those other pages with the trim like we used to.
I don't know. I can ask about that. Yeah, right. It was a lot more detailed. A lot of it went into the chemicals and chemical usage and bacteria counts and all that. If you'd like to see those, I'm sure that we can.
Well, I just wondered.
Get that.
I just wondered what the reason was.
I will contact Pat Gallagher and inquire about that. Okay, item B is the fire department report. Ron?
For the month of May, we had 32 calls for service, 25 medical, 1 structure fire in Filer Township, 1 structure fire in the city of Manistee. We had 2 industrial fires, exterior at PCA, 1 brush fire, 1 carbon monoxide alarm and one gas line that was broken by a contractor. Total hours we put in for those 32 calls was 392 man hours. And so far, as of this date, we had 142 emergency calls. In addition to that, this week, this last Friday, we conducted the written test for the new firefighter class at our station. And then on Saturday, we had practical testing for the firefighters at Madison School. That went real well. It's a perfect location, and we got through that. We're finished about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Yesterday when we had our monthly truck checks, we discovered that the brakes were locked up on our engine. We had to take that out of service. Called the contractor. If you look at the bills for this month, you'll see $3,940 for our annual inspections and maintenance to our apparatus from Frontline Services. It is a fair amount of money, but it protects us in our liability and also protects our apparatus, make sure that they're properly taken care of. The issue we had yesterday, the other thing they do for us is they're very cooperative. When we had the issue yesterday, the brakes wouldn't release on the back of the truck. So I called them last night, talked to one of the head mechanics at home. The owner called me this morning and he said, before I send a technician up, he said, all the way from Midland to Manistee, he said, I want you to try something. So he did. I went in and tried what he told me, and we found out that the brake pedal was not returning all the way. And so all I had to do was I'd keep spraying penetrating oil on it and working it up and down, and broke it loose, and it was fine. So they do the work for us. They charge us a fair amount of money for doing the work. That's pump testing and maintenance. But in this situation, he could have just sent a technician up and charged us $1,000 for travel time and repairs, and but he didn't. They try to help us out over the phone before they do those emergency calls, and very good to work with. And so in addition to what we pay them for maintenance, they do help us out on emergencies. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Item C, you have the report from Lynn, zoning activity report, and as you can see, there's hasn't been much activity until May. Item D, your planning commission minutes are in your packet, and note that they have appointed one planning commission member to the 31 corridor committee. Shirley, is there anything you want to talk about related to that, or anything else?
Well, we need to have a board member do
Right.
this as well. This is a subcommittee, by the way. It's not the...
It's an ad hoc committee.
Right. It's not the US 31 corridor committee that's going to be chosen later on. This is just for our area here. So Rick Mark is going to do it for the
Right, Rick
planning
Mark is going to do the planning commission. It's a corridor plan ad hoc committee, and I guess this would probably be as good a time as any to talk about a volunteer from the board.
Yes, they would, like we need to get one in place tonight.
Tony Galliardo is going to be the DDA representative on this ad hoc committee. There will be a business owner from the DDA district. There will be a community member at large on the ad hoc committee, and then Tamara's looking for a student also to serve on this committee, and has someone in mind for that. So we need to appoint a board member to that ad hoc committee tonight. Any volunteers? Okay.
So motion and a second to appoint Tom?
Yep. I'll make the motion that the township board appoint Tom Machinsky then to the corridor plan ad hoc committee.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Walker, second by Skira to appoint Tom Machinsky to the corridor plan ad hoc committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, Tom. Anything else, Shirley, on the Planning Commission?
Only that there will be a planning commission meeting held tomorrow night. It's a special meeting, and it has to do with a Dollar Tree addition. They didn't want to wait for that till the regular planning commission meeting later on this month, so they wanted us to have a special meeting, and that will be held tomorrow night, 7 o'clock.
And they're looking at expanding into
Radio
the
Shack
Radio
area.
Shack empty store. Okay, thanks, Shirley. Building and Grounds Committee, we have on there consideration of approval of recommendation from the Building and Grounds Committee to hire Owens Construction to replace the rec center front door, which is proposal number 1014, at a total cost of $2,390, including the Panic hardware. And the Building and Grounds Committee did receive 2 bids on that. Chuck Owens gave us an initial proposal on it, but then after checking, we found out we need to have a panic bar because occupancy of 100 requires that, and our capacity at the rec center is 120. And so Chuck said he could, he checked with his supplier, and he can get the hardware to install the panic bar for $250. So we're looking at a total then again of $2,390.
That's the only bid we have?
No, we had another bid for that also that came into the Building and Grounds. It was about $1,000 more, as I recall that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Actually, it was, I think it was like 1,300 and something over.
Pretty close to 1,000.
Yeah, it was over 1,000.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that was pointed out in the Building and Grounds Committee is that Chuck did replacement of a lot of the doors, the same types of doors up at Catholic Central, and evidently the work down there was well done.
Well, we need it, so we need the panic card.
Pardon?
We need it, we have to do it.
Yeah,
If this is the lowest bid, I'll make the motion that we go ahead with.
I'll second.
okay, motion by Cruz, second by Kolonowski to approve the recommendation of the Building and Grounds Committee to hire Owens Construction to replace the rec center door at a total cost of $2,390. Any other discussion on that?
Yeah, it is kind of rotten, isn't it, Dad?
What's that?
The framework and everything.
Oh, yeah, them frames are a stinker to get out. They're gonna spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Because they're filled with concrete and all behind.
Well, and part of the problem with that is that the door is sticking now. It's hard to open and close, and the hinges have been redone so many times that can't do it anymore with the steel framework. So, Shirley, you want to call the roll on that, please?
Ball, yes. Walker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Scarra. Yes. Kolonowski,
Yes.
Machinsky.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Ed, on the Building and Grounds?
Sure there is. How far did we get for the lawnmower?
I just got email yesterday from Lark.
Yeah.
Bob and I took a ride up to
Travers.
Lark, to Travers on, what day did we go, Shirley? Or
Thursday.
Ruth? Thursday?
Yeah.
It was Thursday.
Okay, Thursday of last week, yeah. And we visited them, and we visited the other place we had on our list, the John Deere dealer.
Yeah.
And Lark just sent us prices today on Husqvarna and
Miracle 5.
yeah, the machines.
Gravely?
Gravely machines, yeah. So we'll get back together and look at those bids, and then we need to.
We don't want to wait too long, summer's gonna be over.
Right, right. Well, yeah, I think we're ready to make a purchase after our visit that we did to Free Soil.
Yeah,
And then the two up there, we've got some good
they're all in the
comparisons.
same price range.
They're very close, yeah, they're very close. So. Okay, moving on.
Wait a minute,
Oh, you got something else, Ed?
yep. We gotta go ahead with, them tables look terrible over at the rec center. What should we do, repair them or paint them or what? They're wooden tables.
Yeah, I think that's something we need to hash out at Building and Grounds, but my thought would be we've got a few of I'm saying plastic, they're not plastic, tables that are much lighter weight and they're durable and easy to clean, and we've got some of those, and I will bring that up at Building and Grounds.
Okay.
If you remember to put that on the agenda for Building and Grounds, then we'll talk about that, but I think we should look at purchasing some of those.
Okay,
Is that it?
yes.
Okay. PEG Commission.
We need more people for our pay commission.
We didn't have a meeting last month.
Somebody missed.
Somebody forgot.
It does happen. We're trying to get more people in there to help us because we do need help. We're gonna have some more stuff, they're putting together, compiling some more work this past semester from the school. We should get some stuff for that on our channel, YouTube, and we're looking at that too. Our budget, our equipment, Nexus has changed some of its data system, and so we're looking at different equipment and repair of equipment. We might need a new computer. Keith has been trying to keep the stuff going, and there's a couple pieces that we're going to be needing in the future.
We've done pretty well with the equipment that we have. The DVD players are going on 14 years old, and that's pretty good to squeeze that much life out of that kind of thing. But it's not very expensive to replace those kinds of things. Computer might cost a few $1,000s already.
So if you have anybody in the audience who wishes to be on the pay commission, see me after.
You got some extra time?
That's one more hat you can put on, Jill.
Oh, you don't have to be.
Okay, thank you. Sewer project, we met with the city on May 19th and discussed some concerns and agreed to meet again on June 9th, at which time our attorney Eric Williams will have a proposal ready to present, or a contract ready to present, and I asked Tamara to CC copies of that to board members prior to that meeting, so you'll be getting a copy of that to look at and review. And if you have questions, concerns, or input, make sure you get in touch with the committee and express those. Other than that, I did make a trip yesterday up to Benzonia to the courthouse and met Blake Smith up there to sign papers for the U.S. Rural Development Grant from the federal pooling source, and that's a $1.5 million grant. So I signed those papers yesterday. As we get down the road further to a point where we're getting bids and have a better idea on our costs, then we'll approach the state rural development. They've already obligated or already told us that there will be $1.7 million available for us on that project, but we'll hold off until we see. We may not need that full 1.7, may come in a little less than that, so, we'll make that application at that time. And of course, understand that is if we do not successfully negotiate a contract with the city for sewer treatment and end up going with the tribe, then that's where the grant monies would kick in. If we go with the city, then we would not be using any grant money. It'll just be our loan that's already been obligated from rural development. Okay. And that brings us to unfinished business. We have 3 different items under the Freedom of Information Act that we need to address. The first one is the review or the consideration of the presented Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines. And hopefully you've had a chance to look through that. That's required in July, is that correct, Richard?
Yeah, the new law goes into effect July 1st. These documents that we sent to you are intended to comply with the new law. Surely there was a cost calculation sheet that you should have received as well as part of this package from my office. Did you not get that?
It's not in here, you've looked?
I didn't see it unless it got stapled.
Okay, well, it would be part of which?
Well, it's a
entire
sort of a
procedure?
standalone document. It's just a single page, but you're required to provide that to
Okay.
any applicant that you're going to charge a fee to. And it's a little complex to sort of run through it, but you're now limited under the new law to charging only 10 cents per page for copies. There's a number of other limits in terms of what you can charge in terms of labor and so on. The new law does allow you to hire outside people like lawyers who may have to redact documents that are attorney-client privilege or something like that, and you're allowed to pay them, I believe, up to 3 times the current minimum wage for that service. So you get to pay a lawyer $50 an hour to redact anything that you need a lawyer to look at to redact. The view generally of municipal attorneys is that the legislature here is, the silent motive here is to simply get rid of fees entirely for these FOIA requests, because they're making it so complex to figure out what kind of fees you can charge. FOIA requesters in the past and up until July 1st, if they were disgruntled with the fee, they could not appeal that fee to the board or to circuit court. They are now allowed to do that, so you can get into fee disputes as well as disputes over whether or not the document is subject to disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act or not. You're required, obviously, to have a policy that explains all of this, which is what the procedures and guidelines are for. You also have to have a supply of a summary of your procedures and guidelines available that you pass out to everybody that asks for a Freedom of Information Act request or submits a Freedom of Information Act request. There are a number of obligations that you have to do if you maintain a website. You have to put this stuff on your website so that it's available. Naturally, if you update it in some fashion, you have to update your websites and so on. I can't recall who does our website work here, but that's something you're going to want to get in touch with him or her and have this stuff, assuming you adopt it tonight, have this stuff duly uploaded. And I'm thinking it may even have to be on the front page or the home page of the township website.
Well, you mean a link?
It's got to be a link, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we intended to do. We have a subcontractor that does it. Lynn Works hands it over to the
Right.
subcontractor, and then
So the other paper we'll have to get,
Let me, yeah, Dean, it's essentially a little worksheet is what it is.
so we could still pass this and have that added.
Yeah, you don't have to adopt the worksheet, but it's something that you want to be aware of.
Seems like I saw it too.
We got stuff like about a month ago,
Yeah,
I thought.
As long as we get one.
Seems like I recall seeing that worksheet, Richard,
See, they
about a
had
month
it-
ago when this
Yeah, when we
first
sent
came
that
to
out.
us.
they had all of this last month, and this last month is when they first saw all of this Freedom of Information. But they needed to look it over, so we didn't vote on it last month. We held it off till now. And I think the worksheet was in there because it almost seems familiar to me too. Probably Lynn just forgot to make a copy of that part of it, not thinking that would have to be adopted, and it doesn't.
I can look when we
This needs to go on the website.
I'll make a motion then that we adopt the Information
I'll second it.
Act procedure.
Okay, motion by Yachinsky, second by Cruz, to approve the presented Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item B, in the same vein, we have to adopt the presented summary of Freedom of Information Act procedures and
I so
guidelines.
move.
I'll second that.
Motion by Cruz, second by Skira, to approve the adoption of the presented summary of Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines. Any further discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then the third one, item C, is approval of a resolution adopting Freedom of Information Act procedures and
That's what
guidelines.
you just need to adopt the resolution, that automatically adopts.
Oh, adopts the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
two?
yeah.
Okay, so then I would entertain a motion for item C to adopt the,
I so move.
Second it.
okay, motion by Cruz, second by Skira, to approve the adoption of a resolution adopting Freedom of Information Act procedures and guidelines and summary thereof. All those in favor signify by saying... Oh, you want a roll call on that, okay.
That's the form.
That's the form. That was attached to the email that I sent you and Shirley with all of the other documents, so
Yep, that looks familiar. Okay.
it should still be on your email.
Okay,
Shirley,
all right.
Just so you...
Shirley, do you want to call the roll then, please?
Yep, I will. Actually, this is what we do anyway.
That's that way.
Gotta go that way.
Steve can bring it.
Okay, ready for a roll call?
He needs
Yes.
it back.
Machinsky,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
I
Paul,
so
yes, Skara,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Kalinowski.
Yes.
Thank you, Richard.
No problem. Shirley, who made the motion?
Cruz, and second by Skira, I believe, is that correct?
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, under item D, under unfinished business, we have a contract for our township assessor and assessment services. Which will be Great Lakes Assessing.
Terry, I did look at the things you dropped off the other day. This is a much preferable contract. correct.
Okay, I was gonna ask you, if this crossed the Ts and dotted the Is a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, but it still met some of the criteria in the other one?
Yes, what you're doing here is you're hiring as an independent contractor, Great Lakes Assessing
Assessing.
Inc.
Yeah.
For what's it, 26,000, something like that per year. And then you're hiring, they have to give us the name, but I don't know if they've given that to you yet, Shirley or Terry. But then you are also hiring one of their principals as a part-time township employee at $250 a month, so that that person can sign the assessment roll, take the oath, and do the other statutory things that the township assessor does. But the bulk of the fees will go to the company to do all of the grunt work that has to go into keeping up the township tax records and maintaining the rolls and so on.
And I think they had that in their proposed contract they sent, but maybe not defined as well. And
Well, we had talked, and you wanted a lot of the stuff that we had developed over the years with Bruce Brown into the contract, and so, that wasn't in their service proposal, and so we added it here.
Okay.
And have they seen this? Have you forwarded this to them?
I was just going to ask, did Molly see this yet?
no, she has not seen this yet.
Okay, she'll be here
She'll be in tomorrow,
All
yeah.
right, what I would suggest that you do then is perhaps adopt this or tonight.
Conditionally.
Conditionally, and then if Molly or whoever it is that you're dealing with does not agree to this, or they've got some problems with it, let us know. And if necessary, we can do an amendment next month. Okay, but you'll at least have a contract that you act in place.
Okay, any other questions? Then we're looking for,
Did Molly agree to be the employee at all? I mean, did you have that conversation with her?
we had the conversation about an individual being the employee,
And she was okay with it?
Yeah, she was okay. In fact, she said they sometimes work that way with other municipalities. But as to whether that would be her or Sharon, I don't recall if we discussed that.
All right, well, we haven't done an oath yet.
But, yeah,
Just
and
we
Molly
don't know
will be
really.
in tomorrow.
Right, how she spells her name even, so.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
we're looking for a motion to conditionally approve this contract for Township Assessor and Assessment Services with Great Lakes Assessing, Inc. Upon, the opportunity for them to take a look at it and see if there's anything that they want tweaked on it.
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and adopt that.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Kolonowski, second by Skira to approve the contract for Township Assessor and Assessment Services with Great Lakes Assessing, Inc. Got it all?
got it.
Okay. You want to call the roll on that, Shirley?
Ball.
Have to change your tape?
Oh, wait. Ball, yes. Walker,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Scarra,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Kaczynski,
Yes.
Kalinowski.
Yes.
Okay, under new business, item A, we have the Manistee County Pool Agreement Activity Report that you've had a chance to review and look at in terms of township residents that are using the pool. I had a discussion with Howard Ross about a week and a half ago, and he called asking where we were at on this because we're in arrears on our payments, and I reminded him that I'd sent him an email back in, I believe it was December, asking for this information, and so he, as we were talking, he looked back and he found it, and so he apologized and sent the information. So what we really should look at tonight is getting caught up with, we're 3 payments behind.
I think we're 4 payments behind.
Well, I was looking what what was the date on the third one? Well, yeah, the fourth quarter is April, June, the first quarter, July to September. We owe the second quarter.
The third quarter's missing.
The third quarter's missing, so we must owe 4, because the last
We do
page
owe
is the
4,
fourth quarter, yeah.
When I looked it up, we hadn't paid for 4 quarters.
I know one thing, well, my brother-in-law lied to me because I can't find his name on here.
And he's using the pool?
Yeah, he told me he was using a pool all the time.
Well, I will make a motion that we approve payment for the Manistee Community Pool for the 4 payments that were in arrears.
I'll second.
Motion by Walker, second by Cruz to make payment to Manistee Community Pool for the 4 payments that were in arrears. Any discussion, questions? Okay. Shirley, want to call the roll, please?
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Machemsky,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Ball, yes, Sarah.
Yes.
Item B is consideration of policy renewal options from Provident Accident and Health for fire department members, which is presented by Burns Flower Insurance Group. And you can see that they have given us some figures there for 3 different plans. Plan 1 is what we currently work with. And when we do a 3-year on that, Shirley, is that what we've been doing?
We do a 3-year
Prepaid?
program, yep, and that saves us some money in the end. Here's the full packet. It didn't get printed for your packet to take home if you wanted to see any of the backup data on this. Jeff McCray came and met with Ron and I about this and talked about the different options of the different plans and the additional coverages that would be had if we went to Plan 2 or Plan 3. But with the additional coverage, of course, comes an additional premium. So,
Did he get you the information on that?
never,
Then he never got back to you?
no. In fact, I thought of that today, late in the afternoon. We've always had Plan number 1 for a good number of years. But he did point out the additional coverages that would be in the other plans if we wanted to upgrade.
The biggest differences that he pointed out to us, I would like to see us go with the 3rd plan because of the better benefits. If you look at the death benefits at the beginning, if someone is run over by a car in a car accident, their spouse, the beneficiary receives $50,000. But if they do a medical scene and contract the Black Plague and die from that, they only get $10,000. If we go with the 3rd plan, no matter how you die, you get paid $50,000, your beneficiary does. And there are other benefits further down too that also, as far as the injuries, what it does is our comp insurance covers some of our benefits, but since this isn't a full-time job, it doesn't necessarily compensate the person for the money they've lost
In the regular job.
or in some cases, if it's an extended period of time that they can't work, their insurance may lapse. What it does is this will pay money toward that insurance policy from their normal workplace if they have to pick it up themselves. It pays an additional benefit for illness if they're off work, as far as being able to pay their bills, buy groceries, whatever they need, whatever it's for. It also, for dismemberment, it provides for if someone gets trapped in a building, for some reason they lose one of their limbs, it does allow them to return to work to their old job. It provides an educational benefit that allows them to go to school to learn another skill. So there are benefits, hopefully, that I hope it never gets used. But in the case that someone does get injured or killed, I think it's a tremendous benefit to our community, to our firefighters. It shows that the board considers them to be worthwhile members, and they're worth the extra effort to put forward to keep them and their families protected. We are not the only township that provides this insurance. Manistee Township, Stronach, and I don't recall who else he told us that he worked with that provides this insurance for the fire department as well. But I think for the $600 to go from Plan 1 to Plan 3, I believe it's well worth the cost as far as protecting the people that we have.
Ron, when you mentioned the other municipalities that have this insurance, are you talking about Plan 3 that they have?
I'm not sure. He didn't tell us which plan they had. Okay. He just said that I asked him if there were other fire departments that the township provides this insurance, and he said yes, but he did not say which plan that they have. Well, the other thing we discussed, and I think that's still a good point, even if if the board goes ahead and decides to do one of these plans, I think Shirley brought up a good point at that meeting, and he was supposed to get back to us, and I think it needs to be pursued, and that is to provide this protection for board members that are at risk, such as this provides for a felonious assault benefit. And the one that occurs to me is Lynn. She's out on the street doing zoning, talking to people on their own property. In this day and age, you don't know what you're going to run into. But this also protects her. It protects like Shirley. It could protect Shirley and Ruth collecting taxes. If there were an issue and something happened, he was going to provide us with what the additional cost would be for that benefit. But apparently he has not been able to get that together yet. He's going to try to get it together before this meeting.
No, I just did a little, just quick computation, and I mean, it sounds like the benefits that you would receive in Plan 3 over Plan 1 are fairly substantial.
Yeah, very substantial.
And, looking at our firefighters putting it on the line for us on a regular basis, they deserve, I think, that extra protection and extra benefits, and looking at going with a 3-year plan on 3-year prepaid premium for Plan 3 as opposed to Plan 1. There's $1,400 difference between those two plans, which equates to less than $500 a year difference in that premium, and for the added protection and benefits that it would provide our fire department personnel in the event of any catastrophe. I think it would be, to me, it would be money well spent. I mean, like Ron says, hopefully we never use it, but if you approach it from that standpoint and say, well, we probably nothing will ever happen, we'll go with the lesser plan, and then something does happen, there's no fix for that then. That's just my thoughts on it. Certainly, I'm sure all of you have your own thoughts and are more than welcome to express those.
The one other thing that he brought up to us that is no additional cost, is included in every plan, and that they provide as a service. They provide a service for stress management. We have had people who have joined the department and decided that they could not deal with the types of responses that we make. We've had a couple of people that had to have counseling. So they provide a free service. They have a stress management service. For people dealing with depression, after emergency calls, they have an assistance for that. And they have a free legal line that you can call if you have questions, as well as grief and loss, all kinds of other things that they have, the counseling line that you can call and get help with too as well.
So they have a PTSD clause in there.
Basically, yeah, they do that.
I think I'll make the motion to go with the 3-year, or the third plan
For a 3-year period?
for the 3-year period.
You paid, right?
Yeah,
I'll second it.
3-year prepaid.
Motion by Cruz, second by Kalinowski to purchase the Plan 3-year prepaid premium through Burnham and Flower for Provident Accident and Health Insurance. Any other discussion? Want to do a roll call on the insurance, please?
Scarra,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Cruz,
Yes.
Hachinsky,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Kalinowski.
Yes.
When I call Jeff tomorrow, I will tell him that we're going with this Plan 3 and have him get a hold of you so he can come on some Monday night and discuss it with everybody.
Thank you all very much. I can't express how much it means to everyone to have this available to us, and I will make sure that firefighters know that you guys appreciate them and put this plan forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, by your example, you were not suggesting for the benefit of the TV audience that the Black Plague is...
We have not had any cases.
Just to clear that up.
We have not seen any cases of Black Plague recently.
Okay, item C under new business is approval to obtain real estate for public purpose. You have an application for such in your packet, along with a parcel description. And I guess we asked Richard to be here tonight to answer any questions regarding that whole procedure and process. So I guess we'll open that up for discussion at this point. I know we've talked, about some of the reasons for doing so, some of the benefits of doing so, and I guess this would be a time to bounce those thoughts around and share those ideas. And
I think we'd like to have a synopsis first.
Well, under the property tax, the General Property Tax Act, being properties that, you don't pay your taxes on go back to the county through a foreclosure process. And the county of Manistee has elected to be what they call the foreclosing governmental unit. I think it's FGU is the abbreviation that's used here. That means that if you don't pay your taxes, these parcels are foreclosed on and they go back to Manistee County. Under the Property Tax Act, local government units are given basically the second right of first refusal to buy those properties back from the county for a public purpose. The state of Michigan has the right to buy them first if they want them. And then there's a time period, don't ask me what the time period is, but I think it's going to expire or has already expired. The state of Michigan, if they don't elect to purchase these properties from the county, then the counties make them available to the local municipality in which the property is located. You basically pay the treasurer the unpaid taxes for this property, and then you get a deed from the county treasurer. Because it has gone through the tax foreclosure process, the deed that you get from the county treasurer will be a fairly clean deed. In other words, any mortgages or other liens that might be against that property have all been foreclosed out through the tax foreclosure process, and you'll get the property title free and clear of all liens. You then have to dedicate that property to a public purpose. If you ever sell it at a profit, and that's all defined in the statute, you basically have to give the money back, or the profit anyway, back to the county, which then goes into their tax funds. This is a home. When I spoke to Shirley, one of the public purposes might be to use it as additional township offices. You'd have to do some remodeling, obviously, but there's, once it belongs to you, you can remodel it, you could tear it down, make it a park if you wanted to. You just have to have some public purpose in mind for using this property.
Like for our sewers or some of that stuff?
I'm sorry, for what?
Like for sewers or pump stations?
Yeah, okay, yes, yeah, that would be, I was gonna say, not much of a sewer you're gonna put on that little piece of property, but a pump station you could, sure. Water tower, not that you need another water tower, but any type of public infrastructure you could put there, tennis courts. I'm not sure, that looks like there's a pretty steep hill behind it, doesn't it go down to the
Well, I don't know if I want to chase my dog.
You want to put a tall fence along the back side there, but, so yeah, a
Is
little
there-
park,
there a
neighborhood park?
time frame to start these improvements?
No, not that I'm aware of. Under the statute, there isn't. As long as you don't, as long as you're holding it for a public purpose and not preparing it to turn around and sell it to a private individual to use it as a private home again, I don't think you're under any time limit to do that.
Are we under any zoning restrictions for this?
You'll be subject to whatever zoning you want to apply against yourself. Our local zoning ordinance does not exempt the township from the zoning ordinance, but presumably it's zoned residential, and that's what it's used for. Now, you also, if you need to, maybe we amend the zoning ordinance to allow a governmental agency to use that property.
And with that not in place now, that does not hurt us for going through this process? Okay.
Is his redemption time all expired?
Yeah, it wouldn't be in the hands of the county were there still redemption period out there. This has gone through all of the redemption periods. It's gone through the circuit court judgment process and is now owned by the county, Manistee.
We can't go through the house,
We
can
would
we?
have,
Pardon?
We can't go through the building when he's living there.
Somebody's living there? There's
No.
somebody still living there, or is it
No.
looked vacant when I went by?
There's nobody living in there.
Well, it's looked vacant for a long time, but
But you think
it's
somebody?
been occupied.
Oh,
I was told that he's still living there.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
I seen him walking from there the other day.
Right?
Pardon me?
One of these Steve that's living there.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's not living
Dean,
that's what I was told. I don't know.
I was too.
Does any of this
But we
send us
still-
back
well,
any?
what would happen is that we'd have to evict whoever is there.
Yeah, because we wouldn't mind at least,
Pardon?
we wouldn't mind at least being able to go through it.
What you need to do is talk to Mindy or Russ Pomeroy.
About what? We have talked to them. They
Will
don't
they
have
let
a
you go
key.
through it?
They don't have a key.
They don't have a key?
Russ said that someone's living there and we can't go through it as long as someone is in there.
I'm not sure where he gets that idea. I mean, the county owns it.
Yeah.
Whoever's living there is trespassing. If the county wants to own the property and look through it, they have every right to do so.
So he would be the one that would have to take us through, Russ?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't know, you know, I can't speak for Russ, whether he's going to force the issue or not.
Well,
I'd certainly go over and look through, peek through the windows if I were you.
really?
I don't know, you know, I don't know the person that lives there, but, you know, are you likely to get a
Well, I
double
would
barrel shotgun in your
peek
face or
through
something?
anyways.
He may be street.
You know,
Well, one thing that Dean threw out, you know, was in connection with sewer, and if we end up going with the tribe, the line that would go under Manistee Lake would require a pump station, and that was
Our intent to use it.
depending on the location where the line is, there'd be a pump station on this side. And certainly, you know, and that line would be, is proposed to go down 21st Street. So that would be a logical location then to cross the lake and to have the pump station on that property.
And it's close to the city, should we go with the city?
And if you can.
No, we wouldn't
straighten
need it.
out-
Wouldn't need it then.
We wouldn't need it then, Trevor.
Well,
But it does border, I think it borders the city.
Well, what we were told, Richard, is we would have to pay the back taxes, which are just under 6,900, I think.
69, 68.
Okay, just over that. And should we decide to not do anything with it, we could get that money back.
right. You basically say we can't find a public purpose, or the public purpose that we had previously
Won't work.
declared
Right.
is now invalid or, you know, inoperative anymore. And, yeah, so,
Turn it over to the county then?
right, you get your money back.
What we would be out is the price of this year's taxes, and that was about 1,300.
Yes.
That we would be
Yeah, we'd
on the
have to
hook
pay
for.
those for 2015 because it's on the tax roll. So
Right, and until you, just because you own it doesn't mean it's tax exempt. It has to be devoted to a public purpose as of 12/31/14
Right.
in order to be exempt from 2015
And on-
taxes, and obviously it wasn't
On
tax exempt.
12/31/15, it would come off.
12/31/15 will
Right.
come up, right?
Right.
Thing is, if we're required, say, to get somebody like Surf Pro or somebody to come in, just to clean it, just to make it, I think, suitable to go in,
Mhm.
can we add that to the bill somehow to, when we sell it, will we be reimbursed for that, or is it just an expense we'll lose?
well, who wants to volunteer to go window peeking?
Well, let Richard
Yeah,
answer that
I
question.
don't know the answer to that, Tom. I can look it up, but I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Typically, improvements that you would make towards a public purpose, you would be able to deduct from any profit that you made. Okay, so if you spent
Oh.
$10,000, you know, if you spent $6,900 to buy it and you spend another $1,000 to clean it up and to evict the trespasser, the squatter that's there, and so on, and then you sold it for $10,000, I think you could lawfully claim that you only owe them $2,100 and not $3,100 back to the county.
So what would our first step be? Obviously, this application.
Fill out the application.
And our public purpose, we would need to put on here. So we need to come up with a public purpose.
Well, one is to make it a water department office and stuff.
Additional township offices, possible sewer lift station location.
How much time do we have to do this?
We're gonna do it now,
Yeah,
because it needs to be there by, I believe it's the 19th.
Yes.
right.
So additional township office, possible sewer lift station, possible township park. What else?
I think that's plenty.
Good? Good enough?
But we have to cut the grass and stuff in the meantime, right?
Township
Yeah,
equipment.
once you own it, it's yours. You
It's
know.
yours.
Garage.
If you don't want to cut the
Be
grass,
useful for that.
We tried our new mower out
Yeah,
there.
you're gonna want to insure it,
yeah.
you know, against fire and windstorm. But talk to Burnham and Flowers, I mean, your policies probably cover all of your township property.
It's a blanket.
under
We just
some
have to
sort of
tell
blanket,
them that
yeah.
we've acquired
But
it.
you're gonna want liability coverage on that in case some kids break in and, you know, cut themselves on the broken glass or,
Yeah.
Well, what do you need, a motion then or what? I'll make that motion.
then you can
I do that to my
use
friends,
Ron's
that's great.
accident policy there to
I'll second the motion.
Terry?
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Ed Williams, seconded by Bruce Garrett to make the application to obtain that parcel for public purpose. Any other discussions or questions?
So if there's anybody in there, then we can ask them politely to leave, or?
yes, and if they don't leave, then you use the same landlord-tenant process through district court that you would if, you know, somebody didn't pay the rent.
How long they got to stay there?
Till you kick them out.
Yeah,
They don't have any right to stay there right now.
Yeah.
Their right to stay there terminated when the county became the owner. of the
That's what I'm
property.
saying, we're not doing anything different.
but possession,
The county eventually is going to have to evict them at some point,
Then it would go to the.
or they'll let whoever buys it evict them.
Then it would go to the buyer, right?
Right, and I think the process, the county, at least the letter from Mindy was that they'll put this up for public auction at the casino later on in the summertime, so
In August, yeah.
if you don't buy it under your rights under the General Property Tax Act, then the public will have an opportunity. The minimum bid will be again the 69, 68, or whatever the total unpaid taxes, fees, and costs are.
Okay, we don't have a prepared resolution on this, so is this motion going to be good enough
Should be.
to just acquire for these 3 items? Okay. And do we need anything else in this motion for Richard to pursue? Other than start this with this application to
You want to
obtain?
go through it?
yeah, I wouldn't mind, you know, if we can get in.
Because we do have to have this to the court by, or to the treasurer by the 19th.
Right.
I guess we're good then.
Well, I think, yeah, once you fill that out, Shirley, and let Richard take a look at it and then file it.
We'll get it filed.
Okay, all
And
right.
I'll call Russ and see, you know,
Yeah.
Amy, if you have-
maybe you can at least get a deputy sheriff or somebody to go with you.
Well, let me know what you find out, and then
Right.
some of us will go through.
But it belongs to this lady right over here, so. Yeah, but you'll be signing the deed probably.
Oh, sure.
Okay, Shirley, you want to call the roll on that, please?
Williams,
Yes.
Pachinsky,
Yes.
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Ball, yes, Cruz,
Yes.
Scarra,
Yes.
Okay, the last item under new business is possible street light. Just a little background information. Got a call from a gentleman that lives on the corner of Fox Farm and Link Road. This past winter, he's had I don't remember, I know it was at least 2, I don't know if it was 3 situations where cars have heading eastbound on Fox Farm Road have blown through the stop sign and gone onto his property. He said one time probably they would have hit his house, except that they hit some small trees that slowed the vehicle first. He's concerned about obviously his own safety and his property. Wanted to know if the township could put a street light in there. I had discussions with Mark Solon about the possibility of a guardrail there, which he said would not, at a right angle impact would not stop the vehicle. It would continue on through and maybe even go airborne. Had discussions with Al Vane of Consumers to find out the potential for a street light there and the cost. And it sounds like that's a very reasonable cost to the township, and not only providing possibly protection for this gentleman's property and home, but also somebody driving at night that is not familiar with the road and not alert, doesn't see the stop sign because of darkness until it's too late. Maybe it'll help save somebody from another accident there. The cost that Al talked to me about was installation of a light there would be $100 cost to the township. If it's within 350 feet of an existing power line, which he was sure it was, the first 350 feet, it's a cost of $100. Then if it's additional, pulling additional line, power line, it's $6 per foot for anything over 350 feet. But he thought that it would be well within that 350 feet. And he said they would install a 100-watt bulb to start with, and the average average cost on that is about $11.40 per month on the electric bill. So I told this gentleman that we would, that I'd bring it up at the board meeting tonight. To me, it only makes sense not only to protect this individual's property, but also to protect drivers.
Terry, there is no stop sign there.
There is no stop sign? I thought there was. At the end of Fox. Wow.
No, I believe you just make the corner.
You just whip her right around. That's the problem there. I've always been there isn't one.
There should, I think
Is there a warning
signage is more
sign
important than a light, but
I don't think there's anything there.
Well, maybe that's another discussion, and then I'll have to have with Mark Solden about
There's nothing there. You can just,
getting a stop sign in there.
that would maybe
Maybe the
help.
stop sign would be the best.
Yes, that's what I'm wondering.
If
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah,
Oh, it's true. I would never lie.
I know.
he said that, he felt, because there's no light there, drivers don't see the stop sign. So I assumed that there was a stop sign. I've driven that before, and I don't recall.
No, I think the only stop sign is from the south, where it's gravel.
Yeah,
I think that's the
On
only
Link
place,
Road.
the only stop sign.
That's the one, right? But that's not the stop
yeah,
sign.
there should be some warning further ahead to not only that stop sign, because
yeah.
sometimes by that time it's too late, but off the roadways.
Well, what would you like done on this? I mean, I can have another conversation with Mark Solden, and if there isn't proper signage, maybe we can get that, a warning sign of the 90-degree turn coming up, and warning of a stop sign ahead, and then.
We have to take a ride out there and look.
Yeah,
I can't remember, I thought there was a stop sign, but I don't know.
I think probably driving from the west going east on Fox Farm, I just naturally stop there because it's a T.
That's the road Johnny Wagner lives on.
I don't know. No. Well, I can take a look at it and certainly
What road is it?
follow up with Mark Solden, and if we can't, get resolution to this gentleman's concerns that way, then I'll bring it back next month.
I think either way, I think it's gonna,
And it might be maybe a combination of the two, too. Maybe a light along with a stop sign. Okay, I will, I'll pursue that a little bit further then with signage. And that's it. Public comment. Dell?
How's the lighted structure on Cherry coming?
It's moving.
It's really been bad, and as soon as it starts getting warm.
Yeah, and it's, I understand that. The process is not going to, as I explained to somebody else that called me from out there, it's not going to happen overnight, but what has happened is we have had contact with both daughters of the owner, and the one daughter that seems to be more in charge is from Ludington, and she said she hadn't seen the property in quite some time and wasn't aware it was that bad. Lynn did send the pictures and the letter, of course, to the property owner who's living with the other daughter in Manistee. So they received it. She sent a copy and spoke with the one from Ludington, and they want to, the gist of the conversation was to improve the saleable value of the property, recognizing that the building is beyond repair. They want to have it torn down and then possibly put the property up for sale. I'm not sure.
I do think she sent her a demolition permit,
Yes.
because I overheard part of that conversation.
There's another issue with that property. There's still a hand well, pump well on that property. At one time we had that, remember they had the deal where they went around the state finance shutting, cementing in all those wells. When I learned about that well on that property, the last time we went through this, I went to the state, the health department, and everybody else, and tried to get someone to take responsibility for that well to ensure that something doesn't get in that and contaminate the groundwater for the local residents. I was not able to get anyone from the state of Michigan to take any kind of responsibility for that, but I do still think it's a threat to the groundwater. It's an old hand-pumped well outside of that building, outside of the house.
Wouldn't be too difficult to have it capped, and I would think that might
No,
be something the property owner would want to do, you know, as a potential liability issue.
Yeah, I would think so, because it's...
Well, if it's a hand pump, it's probably only 30 feet.
I'm not sure, you know, we just saw observing that it still was set up, so anything that goes down that pipe is going to contaminate the water.
We should probably include that in on the...
They can cement it in fairly easily.
Yeah.
I don't know if something like that's on that demolition permit. I think a demolition permit is just to rip down a structure, so you're no longer taxed for it.
I don't think you need a township permit.
Well, we
You
haven't.
just need a health department permit.
Well, we haven't, because otherwise the assessor would never know to take it off the tax roll if we didn't have some kind of a record. There's no charge for it.
Right.
It's just an informational thing, so we know to take it off the tax record.
Maybe that's why I missed it.
But even if it's a shallow well, it should be, I would think, should be capped.
Oh, yeah, the law requires it to cap them. You're not going to use them.
So if the law requires that you cap them, who's responsible for enforcing that if
Well, again, that's probably the District 10 Health Department regulations. I don't know of any township law that says you have to cap it. That's what my point is.
When the last time I talked to the health department, they weren't interested.
They were?
They were not. But maybe that was changed since then. That's been several years.
Well, the biggest thing is get the eyesore gone.
Yeah, that well we can handle that later.
Yeah. But, so that is in the works, Del. I know it's been an issue for a long time. Yeah.
I've been on a couple of those.
Any other public comments? Any other business to come before the board? Dean? Dale?
How do we make out with the water situation for Sean?
I've had I did, after the last board meeting, I did go to her residence and we spoke for about 20 minutes and had a very good conversation. I've spoken with her on the phone probably 3 or 4 times since then. I've spoken with her neighbor who shares the connection about 3 times on the phone, and the last conversation I had, because nothing has really happened, I contacted them, I don't recall if it was yesterday or the day before, that action needs to be taken because it's a safety issue and a liability issue with that hole there. So they need to get moving on it. I wanted to find out what their plans were. Talked again about the possible options. I've explained it to them, Mike has. As of yesterday, they were going to communicate after Sean got home from work and be in touch with Forbes and find out when they can do it and proceed. And so I asked Jason that he get in touch with me once they've had that conversation with Forbes to let me know when it's going to be done and which one of the alternative routes they were going to take. And I have not heard back from them yet. I did talk with Mike again today about it, and the last thing he heard from Forbes in their discussion that when the problem initially came up, Forbes kind of rearranged their schedule so that they could take care of that right away. And the one owner wanted to get quotes from several for insurance, to get insurance coverage on it, which we don't think it's going to be covered by insurance anyway. So now, 3 weeks have gone past, or 4 weeks, and the last thing that Mike said, the last discussion with Forbes was that now they're looking at about 3 weeks out on their work schedule, and they're not going to rearrange it again. So I'm anxious to hear which course they want to take in resolving the issue. So in the meantime, they're still both connected to neighbors for water on either side of them. Shirley, got anything else? Ruth? Yeah? Tom? Nothing. Fisher?
All good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.